Hey guys, Veebat here with another V-Plays. We're going to be hopping into the XP-72, an aircraft that a lot of people really don't like, mostly because it's kind of getting stale at this point. A lack of maneuverability, now you're going up against jets. Sure, you're getting these bombs and these rockets, but you're getting a bunch of 50 cals again, and it just feels like it underperforms. But I think that there's a spot for this, and I want to specialize it, so I got a bit of a long road ahead of me. We're about halfway there, give or take. So, yeah, let's do that. I'm actually... I'm gonna go to this. I'll go to the mid. We are in a tier 9 battle. We're going up against two IL-20s, one of which is specialized, and an F2G. The F2G is going to have a lot more maneuverability, much harder hitting cannons, and comparable air-to-ground armament. Like, he's got 4 rockets compared to my 10, and he's got 1 massive bomb instead of 2, you know, medium-sized bombs, these 500-pounders. See what that does. Whoa, okay. Try and pull out of this area here. Look for another target. I see this guy. Light fighters, we should be able to gun down in a single pass with these 50 cals. There it is. And now there's going to be an F-94D. Oh, we're taking some big old 262 guns. Kind of saw that happening. He's got comparable maneuverability to us, so we're going to go ahead and throw on the maneuverability modification here just to make sure we're getting a bit of a better angle on him. And now we're going after the Su-9. We're fortunate enough that we picked up the mine. That is because we have a ground attacker on our team as well, an IL-40, and it seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. The Su-9 can one-shot me with that big old derp gun he's got, so what we're going to do is we're going to dip the nose and get some of that velocity this aircraft is known for, but it doesn't much matter because I guess we lit him on fire. Ooh, 50 seconds till we're reloaded. The base reload is 120 seconds, but I'm really looking forward to the opportunity of putting on the outboard weapon modification, hardened pylons, to reduce the overall reload time. That'll help out quite a bit. So we got the bomber flight coming in. Defending is going to be a good option for us. I think that HG-3 or HG-2, it's a tier 9 battle, should be getting taken out fairly soon. I'd like to help my Su-9 out. We do have decent altitude performance and good speed, so let's see if we can get in here. I'm a little bit worried about this guy, though. I see you. You're on this guy, though. Can I get around and help him? Maybe. We're not quite at our altitude limitation either. This thing does have decent altitude. It also has decent engine power, which allows us to be able to get around a bit easier. I see a Doe 335. Is this the... Oh, it's the HG-2. Guns on, guns on. Is he after the bomber flight? Looks like it. Now the HG-2 is no slouch on speed either, but knowing when to break off, that was a good angle to break. And we're getting up to 460, 470, 490 miles an hour before we decide to re-engage with this aircraft, because he is looking at somebody else. Watching the mini-map, paying attention to where he is, what he's doing. Here is when he should be engaging me, when he saw me coming straight at him. But that's going to be mini-map awareness, and it's not something that everybody's really good at. I see you, Su-9, but you're not looking at me. Now he was. We're going to go ahead and hit the pneumatic assist, get back around on him. I think he's done. Nice. Now there is a bomber over at our mine, so we're going to start heading this way because, believe it or not, this aircraft can actually intercept a bombing platform. He's a little bit high up though, but we'll see what we can do here. We're going to gain some altitude as we approach. We're hitting that cooler. And hammering down that boost. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I know I got a heavy inbound. We're not quite there. Hitting the boost now, getting that nose up. We should be able to engage shortly. We don't want to be in his tail gunner. for too long. There it is. We got air supremacy achieved. Now that he's turned, that tail gunner's off of us a little bit, and we're still closing distance even at 10,000 feet with this aircraft. We don't really want to be in the thick of it all the time, but with a lot of other distracting aircraft or possibly a wingman to give you a hand, you'd be surprised how well this aircraft can perform. And it also has really good engine power. It does have the counter-rotating prop thing going on, but really you don't see that until you upgrade the airframe. So if you're upgrading the engines thinking you're going to get the cool counter-rotating prop design, you're not. That was a good battle. We kind of did exactly what we were supposed to do in the aircraft. We went to the middle, we dropped our munitions, picked up the zone, and we even went back and defended against a bomber. So I was pretty impressed with the way the aircraft performed in this battle, but we also weren't getting isolated. The F-2G, if he was to go head-to-head with us, he has the advantage in a lot of instances. So that is something to be said for that. If I'm not mistaken, I think my HG2 gets outboard weapon modification as well. It'll be worth our while to compare the two real quick, but being aware that they do fly very differently. The XP-72 favors hit points, airspeed, but not maneuverability, while the HG2 gets a little bit more in maneuverability. So airspeed. Well, let's just compare the two aircraft because we're talking about American aircraft that are essentially doing the same job or in the same class. Again, the firepower is comparable in overall output. We actually have a little bit more with this aircraft, but you see that the rating is a little bit lower because we don't have the range. These are tier 10 50 cal machine guns. These are the same ones you get on the F-86 Sabre, but machine guns, you got to be a lot closer to the target, and you got to keep those guns on a lot longer. So with an aircraft that isn't maneuverable, that's a really difficult proposition. Now, when you get to the F-84 at tier 9, you're going to get that maneuverability back. It's going to be better than the Corsairs, and they're almost going to be like a role reversal in the way that these two lines fly. So a lot of people like the 84s more for that very reason. When it comes to the bombs and rockets, you see that they're actually relatively comparable for the overall damage output. Sure, we got two more rockets over here, but when you look at the bombs, you're getting this huge 1,600-pound bomb on the F-2G. And it does have the pylon modification because this is why we have this reduced reload, because at base it would have been 120. When it comes to survivability, we got a little bit of an edge. We got more hit points, a little bit more damage resistance across the board, which again, this thing is kind of based off of the P-47, which was very much known for being a heavily resilient aircraft. So, and then maneuverability, like I said, there's a lack of maneuverability. We've got better roll rate on this thing. That's something to be said. Better roll rate, better maximum optimal speed. So even when you're hammering down that boost and getting over 400 miles an hour, you're still able to maintain good control with the platform, which is good for boom and zoom, because that's where this thing kind of excels. Coming in on an aircraft, engaging somebody else, intercepting that aircraft, and then pushing through. You watch me do that on a couple of instances when we were engaging some of those aircraft. Altitude performance. We've got a big jump in altitude performance on this aircraft, including climb rate. We can push it up to about 12,000 and some change, and we get a little bit over 1,400 feet more for altitude performance, or I should say it's over 1,000, but it's closer to 1,400 feet difference in max optimal. And the extra boost to the service ceiling means that we can maintain that power just a little bit longer, which is why we were able to go up against that RB-17. So I do think there's some redeeming factors with the XP-72, but it also can find itself going up against some really nasty customers at tier 9. And a lot of the multi-rolls at tier 9 or even tier 8 have sacrificed that boom and zoom, low maneuverability, high air-to-ground ordnance capacity for a more nimble kind of counter-air multi-roll that I've talked about in the past. So we were going to compare these aircraft real quick with the modifications, what they get for when they're specialized. They are nearly the same, with the exception being that we get a dual airframe setup for the Corsair, while the XP-72 gets a dual engine modification opposed to, dual airframe. Most likely, I am going to opt for swapping my airframe out for polished skin to kind of offset the airspeed loss we'll get from the outboard weapon, and I'll put in a lightweight power unit for the engine to be able to make up for some of the maneuverability loss of the polished skin, essentially getting the exact same platform but with a faster reload and a little bit more acceleration in the dive, and with that higher altitude ceiling that allows us to be able to get up there and then get back down effectively, which is important for a boom and zoom platform as well. But like I was saying, when you look at tier 8 multi-roles, they start to change quite a bit. Not for the Russians, they kind of get more and more fast and straight liney. But when you're looking at the BVPs, look at this. We go from a Focke-Wulf 190 with like a 13-second plus turn time to the BVPs that are sporting like in the tens of seconds. So they're getting much more nimble. The Japanese see their first multi-rolls at tier 8, and it's going to be the Jawas. And the Jawas, again, are going to be that, 10-plus second turn time, which is going to way outperform an XP-72. And of course, the UK birds are always going to have much better maneuverability across the board. So really, you're the last of the multi-rolls with, bad turn speed. I mean, even a Su-9, we pull up the aircraft details, is still going to be better than 13 seconds, which is why we were struggling against that Su-9 trying to turn on him. I just kind of forgot the stats for the Su-9 as I was engaging him, and we quickly learned that we should probably deviate from that engagement. And that was the best thing to do, because then we could re-engage on our terms. So, final conclusion, what's the deal with the XP-72? I think it's a beautiful looking aircraft. It's like, hey, when we built the the P-47, what could we have done to make it better? And this was the result. That counter-rotating prop design, higher engine output, a little bit more streamlined design, that kind of bubble canopy that gives much better field of view, which we saw come into fruition on the P-47N. And overall, just kind of like a Mustang-type power put onto the traditional jug design. And it looks nice. I like it. I like the appearance of it. It's very gritty, but still fairly sleek. So I do appreciate it for what it is, but I do understand why people have issues with it. I hated this plane when I first went down the line, and even now, trying to grind what's left for my specialization, I've been finding myself struggling a little bit. So even if you guys don't like this plane, realize it's still pretty much a super P-47, and if you kind of keep that mentality and, just get through it, you're going to end up getting into the F-84s, and they get that like 10-second plus turn time that's going to allow you to be able to turn with those other multi-rolls and kind of maintain a level of equality. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, I'll catch you on the next one.